You know, Doom, it's been a long day, but it's getting ever so closer to an end, and it kind of bums me out. But at the same time, makes me a little bit happy. But ironically, speaking of happy, as I awkwardly segue out of this scoreboard being wrong, there we go. Spawning the lower right corner of Belshire. It's the Empire player known as Happy.
And his opponent in the northwestern portion of the map. He currently is sitting at 1-2 in this series. I introduced him last game and he won, so it's not me that is potentially cursing him. It's only he who stands between himself and ZOTAC Cup glory. None other than Kas.
And for context, guys, the European Cup, Doom and I are both North American broadcasters. I'm, of course, from the west coast of Canada. Doom is from the east coast of America. And for some context, this started... I woke up at 4 a.m. to get ready for casting today. We're coming up on 10 a.m. right now, and that's perfectly fine with me. But I gotta tell you, Doom, as soon as we're done, I'm gonna go take the biggest, sweetest nap. And it's gonna be magnificent.
I kind of want to make a cheesesteak. I'm just throwing things out there. I'm hungry, man.
I would too, but you know what? I had all that turkey for breakfast. Shouldn't have, but I did. As it is Canadian Thanksgiving, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I'm so jelly of that.
If I'm gonna be honest though, I don't fully understand our Thanksgiving. Like, we've got some, it's something to do with like a harvest in past days on the East Coast. I don't know, but now it's just kind of become like a copycat of the American version of the holiday. We do turkey, we do like, people just, this is what really kills me. I'm sorry, we should be talking about the game. We'll talk about the game in a second, but what kills me is like decorations in Canada. They still use like pilgrims and things, and like we didn't have pilgrims for like, why do we? I don't understand. Like,
you had Frenchmen invade you, declare you as a colony,
Francais,
change your culture forever.
Yeah, as far as the game goes, same openers. The big question is
different.
Oh,
you got Marines, no Reapers, man.
Oh, sorry, I meant both players doing the same openers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
I was going to say, though, the big question is, like, what's that mid-game transition going to be? Because Cass has been very happily doing mech, and it's not been working out for him. And I think he knows that the only reason he lost that last game was because Happy kind of threw it in a big way. So I kind of feel like it's on him to change his build, to go for something a little bit different, to spice it up, so to speak.
Yeah, and like I was saying before, I was not sold on the whole Reaper opening. And that's because I like getting that gas diverted into attack, but both players seem like, okay, there goes that first factory down there for Happy. Both players going to be dropping down command centers, you know, small deviation here. Kas got it in base, Happy's got it on the ground, and this signals to me that Kas expected Happy to potentially go for that Reaper opening here, but not going to be seeing that actually occur. But this brave Marine, a very brave Marine, has moved all the way across the field for Happy in the early stages of this game.
Yeah.
The bravest Marine there ever was.
It confirms there's no low ground CC, but because he's got no Reaper or anything to get up on the high ground, he doesn't actually know whether this is like, you know, some sort of weird 4 barracks rush build instead of the command center coming down. I mean, you can predict a teammate, whether they're willing to be cheesy or not, and chances are Cass isn't going to be, but Happy is going to be going mech once again.
And it's just the build of choice for Terrans right now, I think, and it's just the favorable one because you can't compete against large numbers of Hellions with Marines in the early stages of the game. It's just not possible to do, and yeah, this is kind of strange because Kas is moving into what we saw him do previously, just not with the same direct opener. So he's going to be getting his Hellions out a little quicker. He's going to be getting his star put up a little quicker by subverting and not getting that Reaper. And I think both players have pretty much just said the Reaper was useless to them and just it was another thing they put their micro into that they could just use more efficiently elsewhere. But okay, will Kas do it? Yes, there goes the starport switch. Gonna be double Viking production right off the bat.
Sorry for bonking my mic there, but I don't know if that was loud or not. Yeah, the Vikings, it's gonna get scanned. It's Happy knows this is coming, and is he gonna care is gonna be the big question, because it hasn't been an issue in previous matches.
No, it hasn't. But now there's a couple Marines mixed in, so it's gonna change the variables around a little bit here. And I do like that Happy has his Hellions out on the field. I think that's going to be a good move in the event that these Marines do continue to lead the pack forward there. But Kaas, his ire has been sparked, and he's going to try to take down that barracks, man.
Are we going to see that quick blue flame again, though? I feel that could be a very big way, or that will affect the game rather in a big way.
I think he's got to.
Tech lab, yeah.
Yeah.
He could produce the tank, make blue flame at the same time, and be quite set. But Kaas again, going very Viking heavy. It'll be great for landing the way he does. Like, they've got a robust amount of health. They're armored units, so they don't take the bonus versus light. But there's actually a pretty cute micro going on here.
Yeah. I think Happy will probably just say screw it to the tank, yep, and he's just going to build 3 Hellions at a time, try to get a little smaller, small advantage. Did he add on additional factory while that barracks died? No, so he will have to rebuild that barracks in order to add on additional factories, but we'll probably see him do something he did very similarly in the second game, where he just waits for Kaas to kind of make a move, and then if he's able to counter, just push ahead. But even again, Kaas not going for that early blue flame, really going to affect him, I think, if he tries to take any engagements. Even in defensive or offensive posture.
Yeah. Third CC coming out of Kaas here pretty quickly, too.
That's risky, man.
It really is, because he doesn't know. He might be guessing it's blue flame, but he doesn't know, and until he confirms that.
And Happy scouts at Riff. Ugh.
That is just the worst.
That's like pulling the trigger. That's gonna signal to Happy that he's gonna be able to have an opportunity to make this push happen.
Yeah, a couple Hellions taking a fight in the middle of the map, though. Gonna force those Vikings right on up. Doesn't even lose a single Hellion. 16 Hellions currently roaming across the map. Both players with actually relatively even Viking counts. And Marines, surprisingly, still in the field for each side.
The blue flame was revealed there. Am I mistaken?
No,
not mistaken?
Wasn't finished in time, so he did not see the blue flame.
Okay. The factories much later for Kaas on his side of the field. Happy pressing forward with a big conglomerate of Hellions and Vikings. Blue flame is done, and now is going to be the time for him. He scans forward and sees that Kaas is turtled back into his natural area. This bunker could really help out Kaas, though.
Alright. Well, blue flame is now revealed, if nothing else. Bunker is going to be a hard thing to bust through, but it's still going to go down, and Happy coming through with a lot of Hellions on top of this. That blue flame's so damn strong. But
Vikings really adding in so much DPS on the ground, too, for Happy. He's forced to pull SCVs. You never want to see SCVs against Blue Flame Hellions, but they could actually swing the battle in Kaas's favor.
Barely. Just barely. Another Viking landing behind this. 3 Vikings still standing. Can take on the Hellions, but man, talk about another army wipe. Even resources lost, however. 8 workers killed there. Kaas with that 3rd command center is not going to be too worried about that.
No. And he held. And he's going to be getting his own Infernal Pre-Igniter here. Going on the other side here. Happy adding on 3 barracks in the main base. This is going to go into later stage drifting. I don't think Happy's going to be able to necessarily end this one just now. Same thing with Kaas.
Fun fact, guys. If you ever see an observer press the wrong buttons 9 times, that's how you can tell they're a little bit tired. So sorry about that. I had like the workers kill tab, and I went through like every tab except Control R in order to close it.
It happens.
But yeah, blue flame now coming out for Kaas. So he was. What's really notable, you're right. Not only did he hold, but the thing was he traded evenly in that engagement. Being able to do that without blue flame is actually a huge deal, and a large part of that was due to the bunker on the ground. But now we're gonna have siege tanks. We're gonna have blue flame, and Kaas is gonna be able to match Happy.
I'm curious to see if Happy is going to go for that 3rd base location of Kaas. He did scout the command center in the natural, but I'm wondering if he's going to put the pieces together and think, okay, he may have probably just landed that 3rd, and maybe he'll just wait until he actually gets SCVs down there. We'll just have to keep an eye out on that in and of itself, because Happy's command center just now finishing more from that overall command at his own natural, but Kaas already taking these 5th and 6th gases. I mentioned it before. 5th and 6th gas is so important if you're going neck in TBT.
Happy scanned, saw the army out of position, wanted to come sideswipe from the 3rd base, but Marine there did tell Kaas this was coming. Siege tank gets nicely positioned, and oh, these Hellions. Blue flame versus blue flame with the addition of the siege tank splash. We see Happy get absolutely wrecked.
I think Happy does have in his favor,
Viking
though,
counts.
is the Viking count.
Yep, 4-4 actually, kind of even. Gonna be, again be a bit of a wash. Neither player really coming out decisively ahead after all of these little tangos. But the big thing is Koss has that third base. Happy does not.
And they're both making Hellbats, Rifkin. When did these come back? That's my question. Because I usually see...
It's such a big deal with tanks. They soak the damage, and that's the most critical part about them. The damage they do is great, and that's without question, but it's about soaking that siege tank fire. But Hellbat versus Hellbat is going to be really funny to watch. Especially because I got a feeling it's not going to be like 10 Hellbats versus 10 Hellbats. It's going to be like 40 Hellbats versus 40 Hellbats.
You know what I'd really like to see is just drops in the main base with Hellions rather than these straight up try to run by and engage, because there's no turrets. There's no turrets in the main of Koss. There's no turrets in the main of Happy, but there's a lot of SCVs that could get dropped in a split second.
Yeah.
With Blue Flame Hellions on the field.
Or if you even get ballsy enough, go for transformation servos, drop 4. Suddenly there's, rather than 2 Hellbats being dropped, 4 transforming in the main. I mean, yeah, it can get wild. Koss is maintaining a supply lead here throughout the entirety of the game. 163 overall supply to 133 for Happy. If you look at the army supplies, 88 for Koss, 69 for Happy. So Koss is definitely in the lead at this point. And if we look at the tank counts, he's way in the lead there. 11 to the 5 siege tanks of Happy. Yeah, some dancing going on in the middle of the field. Koss again, still with a superior number of Hellions, but a hugely inferior number of tanks.
But if he keeps the air lead, if he can maintain that, then he'll have the vision to really make it so that the tank count doesn't actually matter that much. But he needs to get into a good siege position.
It might not matter that much, but it's 12. He's doubled the siege tank count of Happy, and it's going to be quite rough when you consider he can siege half of them and still push with the other half to be on even footing.
They're both building 3 at a time at this point.
Look at this! Look at this awkward command center at the 4th base, by the way. Saying screw it, I'm just gonna lift off and reposition. But this is also kind of hilarious too, because Happy can just leave these Vikings on auto follow for the army. There's no Widow Mines, there's no Thors. Well, there's a Thor on the way for Koss, but there's nothing to shoot up.
I actually like the addition of that Thor to the composition. Good range on them. They can stand with the siege tanks and defend against any type of Vikings that are trying to spot for the opponent. But okay, I don't know, man. I think this is really going to just come down to who's sieged and who's not.
Yeah, positioning. I mean, okay, you guys might be saying, oh, Hellbats and Hellions and tanks, this is so wildly different, but it's not. This is still more or less your Marine tank composition, where positioning comes down, the tanks will do the most damage, but of course, it's the Marines, but in this case, Hellions and Hellbats that are going to be the true heroes of the day.
You know what's kind of crazy is that Koss is actually taking a 4th and a 5th base at the same time, where it is going to be scouted by Happy, but Happy's still confined to just 3 bases, trying to get his 4th command center finished. And
Happy has got so many Vikings trailing this army. This is absurd. Where's that Thor? It's going to splash damage all of these.
That's true. They are clumping up.
There he is.
Remember the old Viking flowers?
Yeah.
Remember the days?
Did you? I don't remember. Did you play Brood War at all?
Very scarcely.
A really trolly thing to do, because APM in that game was like irrelevant. Well, actually, yeah, this Thor is gonna massacre the Hellions in the middle of the map, but so is this engagement
battle.
Yeah, Vikings landing on top of the tanks, so gonna be a decisively huge advantage for Happy, and Koss, with such a big lead, is starting to get broken here.
He's been investing in his economy behind this, Rifkin. He is going to hold that watchtower position, very crucial for him in these terms. But he's building 6 tanks at a time. This is nuts, man.
And look at the bank of Koss too. I mean, to remax on a ton of Hellions, Hellbats, whatever he wants to do. I mean, supply is everything. We saw Happy take that engagement, mostly because of his positioning more than anything else. Landing the Vikings top of the tanks, huge deal. But he lost a lot of that sort of heft to his army, and now it's significantly scarcer than it once was. Primarily just tanks, not a lot of like fluff to it. There's not enough Hellbats really to soak the damage, so he can't push against Koss.
No, he can't. And I'm surprised we're not seeing like those missile turret lines with sensor towers all across the field. But
there's some more Thors coming out too. This is kind of interesting because the Thors, of course, rapidly destroy tanks if they can connect. But Thors are these big, slow, bulky units that, while they have 400 health, still get taken out pretty quickly if tanks are unsieged. Or even if they are sieged, I mean, Thors go down. That's the point.
I kind of want to say Thor is back rather than Thor is here, but they never left.
Well, gonna take out the base. Actually, not take it out. Here come the Thors to shoot away at it. But middle of the map, we got Happy flanking in. Those 5 siege tanks are gonna finally go down. However, the army of Kos now in a very, very dangerous situation. But Happy's not gonna swing back. He's just gonna push.
It's almost feeling like a base trade to some degree, but Kos is way in favor in terms of overall supply and base mining. I don't know, man.
The base trade is going to be a bit funny though. Kos is technically going to lose the base. Oh, actually, hang on, never mind. Here comes all of his Vikings on top of the army of Happy. Siege tanks did beat Happy to sieging up, and Hellbats are about to go down. Kos, though, is going to have his siege tank line broken at home, so can't quite defend, but Happy has lost the DPS portion of his army. Now Kos, if he does go for a base trade, Thors, they attack so slow, but they attack so hard, and he will push in with these.
Happy ran a lot of his SCVs into the Thor tank ball, though, but I think if he hadn't done that, he may have been in a better situation than he currently finds himself. He did clean up what is, I'm going to call, a 4th base of Kos over here and the 5th base at the same time.
Yeah, denies the 2, but Kos also takes out that really important 3rd base of Happy. He's got this other one up and running, but of course that's, again, both players need so much gas to maintain these army compositions.
Check out to the west here. It does look like Kos is going to stumble upon this small outpost of the orbital command plus a bunch of SCVs, and that is not going to work into Happy's favor. And if the Thors get on top of that, they might actually be able to take out that command center and put it into the burning, but nope, definitely not going to happen.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward trade again.
Weird.
But this is
weird.
This is why TVT's awesome. One thing I gotta point out though, Dooms, look at the upgrades for Kos. He's coming up on 3-1, and Happy's gonna be on 1-0. This is going to get really annoying to deal with because his siege tanks unsieged are going to pack such a punch, and Happy is going to not even be able to really contend with unsieged tanks. Like if you could fathom that for a second.
Fathoming. What I'm trying to figure out here is what Kos is going to do once his 3rd base mines out. These 4 locations really are tough to hold, it appears, so far in this game, and Happy's happily mining off of his newly established 3rd base to the eastern side of the map.
And even though I'm following it with the camera, I just realized Happy has Thors in his army now too.
When did that happen? Oh, big siege here though.
Yeah, Thors on the front lines. Yeah, getting a bit wrecked. Vikings going to provide a lot of the vision to save out of those scans, and while Hellbats are marching down, neither player can really continue pushing like this. But again, I feel so much of this game is going to come to the fact that Kos has had the superior economy for significantly longer. Which, I mean, again, that's gone into the upgrades so far, but that's going to allow him to just keep bullying with these siege tanks. Like, this sort of this run by the left side of the map, not a big deal to Kos. He can replace this if he loses it. Ooh, wanted to go for some Hellbat drops. Will awkwardly catch some Hellbats trying to run past the army. But, of course, Happy's in the middle of the map, and he's walking big.
Command center did fall to the left side of the map here for Happy. He's going to charge forward, maybe thinking that this is his last chance in the game. 126 supply to 183 for Kos. Kos simply just has too many users. He's added Medivacs in now too.
Hellbats get on top of the Thors, but good game is called, and Kos will bring this back 2-2.
Hey, okay. What were we saying there? Happy, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. Now, everything falling apart here. 2-2 lead in the series. Momentum has swung back to Kos's favor. I don't know what we're going to see in this last game, Rifkin. I don't know what options these players have left in terms of their build choices.
I don't know either, dude, but we're going to toss out what's probably going to be one of our last quickest set of ads, guys.